All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Austin from the Melodome here. Got an awesome video for you today. We are going to be talking about satellites and balloons in space. Okay. Now, before we begin, I just want to say that from my perspective, a true earther, a flat earther, there's a lot of ideas going out there in the community, but myself, I do think that satellites are real. Um, I do think the ISS is up there. I just don't think people are in it, of course. And you know, I don't think they are falling around a water ball. I don't think satellites are perpetually falling around a water ball in the vacuum of space. I don't think we have satellites going into deep space to take close pictures of moons or planets or asteroids. There's nothing like that happening. Okay. They have them above us to point and at the sky, but I think they're also to just spy back out down on us. Okay. Now, when I talk to a couple of my friends who still think they're on a spinning water ball in a space vacuum, some of the questions I get back is, well, what about satellites? What about satellites, bro? Those can't be fake, right? When the idea of what we think they are definitely fake. When you Google satellites in space, they're all cartoons. Okay. You won't find not one real photo of a satellite in space. Okay. And now recently there's been this Fox clip going around on social media, and I want to play it here because they literally say in this video what us flat earthers have been saying for years, that there's giant size satellites hanging on balloons that could be up there for weeks at a time. And the Globy trolls respond back with, "You stupid flirts, those are just weather balloons," right? When we're right. Okay. Now I'm also going to show you some documents that I found over at the True Earth wikitide.org. Let me make sure I'm saying it right. trueearth.wikitide.org. That is from my boy No Longer on the Ball. He has created a excellent resource for all of us researchers to find the truth. He has put it all in one location. So make sure you go check that out. I'm going to be showing some things from that website. Also, footage of crashed satellites and whatnot. But let's begin with this. Well, first, before we start with this, let me start with this. Helium, right? Did you guys know that NASA is the number one consumer of helium? If not, check it out. Easy to find out. Okay. Also, SpaceX, right? They are also a huge consumer of helium because, you know, your boy Elon Musk is always sending up rockets. Okay. And I know a lot of people think he's a fucking hero, but he's not. He's not a hero at all. Actually, I believe that the SpaceX is just a military operation to just spy on the American people. Elon Musk is a military contractor. Okay. And I believe he's a huge puppet. Okay. So, yes, he's definitely in on this lie and this money laundering scam because, again, NASA gets $80 million a day of our tax money. Okay. And then is putting millions and millions of dollars into launches. Okay. And they're telling us they're using these rocket launches to launch satellites into the sky, when in actuality, they're launching all these damn satellites on balloons in Antarctica. And they've been doing it for years, since before NASA was actually established. Okay. The early 50s, possibly the late 40s. Okay. And so let's just play this video here from Fox News. I know it's going to be hard to listen to, but bear with me.
Take a look at this. So NASA using long duration.
Hold on, let me fix my audio really quick so I can hear it through my headphones. And all right, let's go.
Balloons, not to spy, but to, well, let's just say science. They fly almost twice as high as the Chinese spy balloon did, around 117,000 feet. Forget about the Statue of Liberty. Actually, some of these are the size of sports stadiums. But what exactly is going on up there in the stratosphere? The Antarctic Long Duration Balloon Campaign, it kicked off this month, launching the first balloon of the season on Monday. Andrew Hamilton is the acting director of NASA's balloon program. He joins us now to talk about this. Andrew, good afternoon. So when we say NASA, a lot of people just think about rockets, but this balloon program, it's some serious business. What's the advantage of using balloons to study space?
Well, balloons provide a very cost-effective and persistent access to the near space environment. No other platform has this capability to get up to the stratosphere and stay.
It's so funny how it says NASA kicks off new balloon program, stadium-sized balloons set to launch from Antarctica, when there's nothing new about it. They've been doing these operations for decades, okay?
There for as long as it does. So the missions that we fly will be there for days or weeks. And if all goes well, this campaign will have a mission that flies over 2 months while it's down in Antarctica.
Which is going to be one to watch, because I know that there might be some record that's broken. We'll talk about that in a bit. When we were talking about this segment, a lot of people thought weather balloons, is this what we're dealing with? But these balloons are different. They're not weather balloons. I mean, as far as the data that's collected with weather balloons, we've got temperature, humidity, pressure all throughout the atmosphere. But these scientific balloons, they have different objectives. I mean, like, for example, mapping the Milky Way, correct?
Correct.
What exactly
the weather
with
balloons
that? It was on the 11th, right? That I think it was the LoRa balloon that launched, and that's the one that's going to be mapping the Milky Way?
No, the LoRa balloon that launched is a balloon that we're flying for ourselves. It's a technology demonstration mission to help test out some technology that will enable long duration missions for other science. The one that's going to fly for 2 months is called the Gusto mission. It is intended to help look at the Milky Way and look specifically at the interstellar medium to understand that better, to help comprehend the life cycle of solar systems within the galaxy.
So Gusto's the one that's really making the headlines. I mean, when it comes to the setting, you guys have chosen Antarctica. What makes Antarctica so unique, especially when we talk about NASA's balloon program?
Yeah. A couple of things that help us out with Antarctica. First off is the stratospheric winds.
So real quick, you see how they're doing it. They're putting these satellites on these forklifts and then attaching them to balloons and then filling them up with helium, and you got the liftoff. And then they'll be up there for weeks at a time. They would deflate, and then parachutes would be launched, and then planes would come by, scoop them up. But sometimes they lose them and they hit the ground, and we're going to be showing that a little later. But let's continue.
This time of year, they'll set up into a nice circumpolar flow around the continent. It gives us a very predictable pattern to fly around the landmass. The other thing that helps us out.
Okay, so notice he says they do it in Antarctica because of the airflow. So if you go check out Bob Winds, go check out the wind currents over on Bob Winds. It makes so much sense. Also makes so much sense with the southern flight routes, things like that. But I digress. Let's continue.
Of course, is the fact that it's 24-hour sunlight. It's spring going on to summer down there, so the sun's up all the time. And so with that constant sunlight, that gives you a very consistent thermal environment so that the balloon stays at a relatively constant altitude. So between the predictable flight path and the constant altitude, you get a very stable environment, which allows the science teams and technology teams to gather a lot of data for a very long period of time.
How long has this program?
All right, real quick, you see that shot? Oh, Austin, you idiot. You're making a video about not being a globe and it's showing a globe. This is fisheye lens, ladies and gentlemen. Simple trickery. Been fooling the masses for generations. The horizon derives from horizontal. And the horizon, which you see with your own two eyes, go out to the beach, is horizontal. No matter how high you go, get in a plane, look out the window. Guess what? The horizon is horizontal. Okay? It's not curvizon, it's horizon. Okay? Let's continue. Just had to do that. Just had to throw it out there. Okay, you know how people can be.
Been in operation, and with past missions that you guys have completed, what has it helped as far as furthering this particular field of research?
So the program has been around since the 80s in various forms. So it's
been way longer than the 80s, okay?
Around a very long time, and we touch every piece of science out there between astrophysics, heliophysics, earth science, you name it. We have helped out a lot of different parts of the science community, and many
Oh,
of our
Lord.
programs have gone on from balloon flights to be satellites or go on to the space station as separate experiments. So there's a lot of technology maturation and science demonstration that we help out with.
Well, before we let you go, I know that there is going to be a record that's possibly broken. To imagine 55 days up there is remarkable, especially given the winds and the dynamics as you just talked about. What mission do we need to watch for that long-standing 55-day record?
So that's the Gusto mission. Their science requires them to be up for 55 days. So, and that happens to be our current record, is 55 days and a couple of hours. So we're shooting to go well past that and give them as much science as they can get.
Well, best of luck.
They can keep it up there for weeks, ladies and gentlemen, weeks at a time. I think even longer. I think they have more technology out there where they necessarily don't even need balloons anymore. Some secret propulsion program that NASA is also behind. So now I'm going to pull these up here. These are some documents that I found on the True Earth Wiki. Let's pull this one up first. So this one here, look, right here in this document, you can see it, how they're hanging satellites on these large, massive size balloons. Okay. This was like Echo 1 and Echo 2. And this is a document about suborbital large balloon reflectors, 2014. Okay. And you can check all of this stuff out over again at the True Earth Wiki. I'll put this up on the screen again. It's a great resource, guys, and you go check it out. And shout out to No Longer on the Ball for creating this excellent resource. Also, there's other resources, of course. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app from Blue Water Bay. Also, another excellent resource there. Make sure you use referral code MELLOW after downloading it if you choose. But you have an app here, excellent app, and you also have a website here if you're in front of a desktop or of that nature. So, yeah, anyways, you have this one. And then this one I found very interesting right here. This is called the Corona program. For balloons, satellites hanging on balloons. And what this is actually an interview. Let me scroll up to the top with a Lieutenant Mitchell, Harold E. Mitchell, Lieutenant Colonel Harold E. Mitchell, was being interviewed about the Corona program, which he was involved in the 1950s. Okay. And you just seen in the background from that Fox News how they were launching balloons in Antarctica, having these objects, these capsules, these satellites on forklifts, and then they're attaching the balloon to the object, filling up the balloons, and then they're launching, going airborne. Okay. And then they're saying it's relatively new, been around since the 80s, but it's actually been around since the inception of NASA itself. Again, NASA, the #1 consumer of helium. Trying to find the page, get back to it. So during this interview with Mitchell, he was asked if he's ever seen any of these balloons being launched. Let me find it here. Yeah, and he says right here that he's watched one. They were placing the capsule on a forklift, and then they attached a balloon and inflated it, and then itself would become airborne. Okay. This was in the 1950s. The balloon was designed to go about 85,000 feet. I'm questioning how high a lot of these objects can get into the sky. I'm questioning how high these launches they're claiming they're going. Shout out to my boy Harmon for sparking that idea into me. We've been conditioned with so many things as a child that we have just accepted as our reality, when so much of these foundations that we've been built upon are lies. And I just been trying to break them down these past few years. That's what all my life is about now. And but yeah, it's very interesting. This is an interview from 1955, 1954, and Lieutenant Mitchell, is talking about launching balloons with satellites hanging on them. And they're doing it again today. Since then, that's all they've been doing. And I think most of it, could be for research and this quote unquote science. But I think a lot of it, again, is to spy on the people, and they're taking money. You know, oh, it's millions and millions of dollars to launch these rockets to get satellites up in there, when actually they're launching them on balloons, right? Just another money grab. And so now I want to show this video here. This is a satellite crash in Brazil. So this is what happens because I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. Back at that Corona document, he's also explaining what he was involved in that Corona program. And what he was doing was he was retrieving these satellites, because after they would do their job, the balloon would deflate, and then parachutes would be implemented for these things, these satellites to come down. And then he was told, you know, that part of his job was to go and grab these midair. There would be these hooks on the back of these planes, and they would be capturing these satellites. But now, going to this video that I have here, I feel like this is what happens when they fail at retrieving their satellites. You know, they misplace them, if you will. This is a video from Mark Sargent's channel. Excellent, legend. One of the first, in my opinion. And I've met him. He's a great guy. Yeah, let's check out this video here. A satellite crash in Brazil. And there's many reports of satellites crashing all across the plane in recent years. You can, if you research well enough, you'll definitely be finding them. I think you can find them at the True Earth Wiki or at the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Yeah. Crash. Attached to it is a parachute. They got balloons attached to them. And then you've seen yourself, the Fox News, they're literally telling us what the flat earthers have been saying for years. And now it's coming out more. Now they're on Fox News having to say it. Why? Because us flat earthers have been crushing and trying to tell all of you what's going on. If you just stop and question what you've been told and go do your research with an unbiased approach, man. Like, come on. It's so obvious that they are lying to us. And then for all of you that have recently, the past 3 or 4 years, seen what has been going on with these governments, like, how can you even think these space programs are legit? They are also part of the government. You got to follow the money. You got to wake up is what you got to do. All right. But yeah, that's all I got, man. I just wanted to talk about all that. Satellites in space, they're not falling around a ball. Time to wake up, guys. All right. Peace and love. And of course, peace stands for positive energy, activates constant elevation. And the love is real. And when you keep it real, you keep the real ones. We're out of here, guys. Later.
It's a long fly ball going back, and the ball shatters the sky. Oh my. Oh my.
Astronauts to the moon.
Oh my. Oh my.